Okay, so this is the third and final exercise that I think could be really useful in helping you get good at getting your hips over your heels. This one is different because we're working on our psoas and not on our hamstrings. Our psoas muscles are major muscles that connect the spine to the thighs, and so they can really play a big role in terms of our whole standing alignment. And for most of us, they're really tight. The thing to know about the psoas muscles is when they're tight, it's not because they're short necessarily, it's because we're holding them tight. So kind of like the way that you might be someone who scrunches your shoulders up towards your ears, that's what I do. All you have to do to get your shoulders down is let that go. Now that is obviously easier said than done, but there's no exercise that's going to make me really good at letting go of my shoulders other than practicing letting go of my shoulders. And it's the same with your psoas muscles. So this is an exercise that you are not going to be blown away by. You are not going to be like, wow, that was so satisfying. I felt so much during it. This is a quiet exercise to help your brain get to know your deepest muscles in your core, the psoas muscles, and learn to let them go. So you're going to feel almost nothing. But there is a really good before and after test, and that's going to help you know if you even need to do this exercise. So all you're going to do for the test is lay yourself down on the ground flat. And when you're laying down flat, you're going to assess yourself. You're going to put your hands underneath your waist. You should not have a lot of room under your waist when you try to put your hands there. And I have a little more room than I'd like to have right now because I can kind of get my whole hand under there. That is a sign that my psoas muscles are a little tight and they are pulling my ribs forward and up. So you might find that if you have a ton of room, you could get your whole hand underneath. That's a sign your psoas are too tight, probably. And also if you're totally flat on the ground, that's usually a sign there's some tightness there as well because the psoas is a complex muscle. So you just want to be able to kind of get your fingers under there, not a lot. You should also have your thighs flat on the ground. There should not be a gap under your thighs like that. They should be relaxed. So this exercise is a way into working on the psoas muscles, especially the upper fibers that might be lifting your rib cage up. And that could very well be part of what's making it hard for you to get your hips over your heels when you're walking. So this is a very simple exercise as well as being a very quiet one. You're going to need a firm cushion. I like a couch cushion or a yoga bolster, and maybe some blankets or a half dome for your head. And all you're going to do here is set yourself up with your shoulder blades on your cushion. So the shoulder blades are not down here, they are up here. You want to find the least amount of support on this cushion that will hold you up without actually falling off the cushion. So you're not going for a lot of support here. You really just want it to be kind of under your armpits. You might want to have something behind the back of your head. That feels like a little too much for me, but my blanket's pretty good. And what you're looking for here is a position where it's almost like a seesaw. Your shoulders are on top of the cushion. Your ribs have room to relax down because that's what your psoas might be up to, is holding your ribs really tight like this. That's a way they can stay short and tight. And what we want is for them just to slowly let go and to allow your ribs to relax down. So once you're set up here, you can see that I don't have a lot of cushion underneath me. What I'm really making sure of is that I'm not like this. That's just keeping that ribs up position. And I also don't want anything where I've slid off completely and it's just my head here. I want my shoulders to feel very fully supported, but I don't want more than my shoulders and shoulder blades to be supported. And then here, really there's nothing to do except try to connect in with your core and ask it to relax. And the best way to get your body to relax is with your breathing. So what I really like to do here is I like to think about my low back ribs. This is a place most of us need to be more aware of when we breathe. And I breathe in there. I feel it expand. And then I take an even slower breath out than my breath in. So if I breathe in for about 4, I'm going to breathe out for about 6 or 8. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was my in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my out. Something like that. There's no magic. You just want to make sure your exhale is longer than your inhale. And I like to take my brain into those low ribs and ask them to soften on the inhale and expand and sink on the exhale. So I'm just quietly requesting, which is why you're not going to feel very much here. This is not a stretch. This is definitely not a workout type thing. This is learning to relax some muscles that you might not have talked to in a really long time. Deep breath in, deeper breath out. Super nice and slow. Just focus on those exhales being longer than the inhales and trying to think about your low back ribs melting towards the ground. If you need to move your pelvis around to make this more comfortable, go ahead and do that. If that's still feeling really crunchy for you, you could put something underneath the backs of your knees. That is not my favorite modification because it's going to shorten the psoas on this end, on the leg end, and what we're trying to do is lengthen the psoas muscles. But if it's very uncomfortable, then that's a good starting point. So those are some options. You're going to stay here for anything from 2 minutes to 20 minutes, whatever you've got in your day. It's a great combination with your meditation practice. So you just want quiet stuff. Don't do it with your TV on because that's a little bit too engaging for the nervous system and you're trying to get your nervous system to calm down here. This is a great practice when life is anxious and crazy. Once you've hung out there for your 2 to 5 minutes, all you're going to do is lie back down on the ground. So ideally, you'll just wiggle off your cushion, lay straight down, and then you're going to test again. You're going to put your hands underneath your waist. You're going to maybe put your hands or get a friend to look under your thighs. You're going to see if anything changed. And if something did change, then that's awesome. That means you can see that the release has happened, and that means it's a good time to go for a walk or to work on your standing alignment. If nothing changed, then it just means that your body doesn't have the hang of it yet, and it's worth working on. It's worth working on for as long as it takes until you start noticing a change if you think that there's a lot of that sort of psoas tension that's lifting up your rib cage if you're struggling with hip over heel alignment. So you can come back to that again and again. It is a very simple exercise. It's a very gentle exercise, but it's very powerful. So use this as one of your best toolbox tools. Okay? So quick recap, hip over heel alignment means your hip joints over your heel bone, weight back in your heel bone. Way better for your body, better for your low back, better for your pelvic floor, better for your feet. Hard to do, so the exercises that will help will be the ones that lengthen and strengthen your hamstrings and that relax and release your psoas. Okay, so that's the package. Go ahead, use that to work on your hip over heel alignment. Hit me up anytime if you have questions about any of that. You can find more of my work at petrafishermovement.com. I really focus a lot on how to make a healthy barefoot transition and working on creating strong feet, better walking technique, better standing technique so that your body can be more sustainable and feel better at every age. Okay? Thanks for joining me. Take care.